So, ma'am, my question to you is, what are the interlinkages between strategic culture and foreign policy of a country?
I think a country's strategic culture is intrinsic to the manner in which it thinks about pretty much everything to do with its national development, be it its own economic priorities or its socio-economic priorities and its foreign policy. And as you know, foreign policy rests very firmly on what the economy is, what its requirements are, and what needs to be done in order to achieve its own objectives. And what are our objectives? Our objectives are focused very firmly as a democracy on what we can give to our people, on the quality of lives, basic provisions of food, shelter, health, education, which unfortunately even 70 years after independence we have not been able to deliver to every one of our citizens. We have lifted millions of people out of poverty, but we still need to go much further and do this much faster with a greater sense of urgency, because it's human lives that are involved. So I think that our strategic culture needs to reflect this mindset of urgency, and strategic culture is reflected in foreign policy. I think that our policy of non-alignment was brilliantly conceived and strategically conceived in an age where you had the Cold War and two great blocs faced off against each other, and a country that had just newly won independence. So we had our 5-year development plans that did a great job in delivering us from the shackles of colonialism, with a country that had no manufacturing capacity, no industrial base. We are what we are today. And that is thanks to our strategic planning and to our strategic culture. But there are many things we need to set right about our strategic culture, which will also get reflected in our foreign policy. I think that we need to improve our implementation abilities so that we can actually deliver on the promises that we make, especially to our neighboring countries, Nepal, Myanmar. And that in itself will help us to achieve certain foreign policy objectives, which is critical in an emerging world order where we see ourselves as finally being in a position to be a country that can shape the rules, shape the world order.
Like you also said in the session that India has done a lot, but it still needs to do a lot more.
That's right. I think that it's a glass half empty, half full syndrome. And we can't ignore what is already full, but my focus now is on what's empty.